you're alum to Baylor and the Aranda deal and what happens there. Can they find a 2-for-1 or whatever up in Denton, Texas, if that's an option? We had Jared Mosley on the show yesterday and Eric Morris. But what do you think, and how can they turn this around without getting lost in the shuffle?
This is such a tough position to be in because, look, we talked about it a little last week, right? We're talking about a 28-day window. We're talking about potentially going into December, not necessarily knowing the future of the athletic department. We'll see if they ultimately are able to pull cause together, whether they reach a separation agreement in a shorter time frame. I think that's something they really need to be looking into, just with the logistics and reality of the situation. But I'll say this. I mean, I think that heading into this last 4-game stretch for Baylor in November, it felt like bowl eligibility was likely, even if not easy. Look at Arizona right now. Mm-hmm. Arizona is 7-3, and you're going on the road to play them. I think everybody checked that box and assumed it was going to happen. I don't think that's a win anymore. Then you play Houston, and Houston's reeling a little bit. But if you lose to a Houston team that obviously is still very good at home, on senior day, an in-state program in year 2 of a rebuild while you're in year 6, I just don't think you can come back from that. I think that this thing is becoming harder and harder to square away. So like you said, I mean, I think that some of the easy things would be to look at an athletic director, head coach type combination, because then you kind of speed up that process. But, also I will say this too, like Baylor hasn't historically done stuff like that. They tend to be very by the book, very process oriented. And I think that, again, if you can't get your situation with your athletic director resolved by, let's say, a week or 2 from now, by December 1st, let's say, I mean, it just puts you in such a tough position to try to make decisions. Now, there are a couple of those types of combos out there. Like you mentioned, Jared Mosley at North Texas, with Eric Morris. I think that, somebody who's been linked a lot to Baylor's athletic department is Jeremiah Dickey, a former sort of assistant athletic director at Baylor, who's now the athletic director at Boise State. Although, is Spencer Danielson a realistic candidate with some of the struggles they've had in his second year? I don't necessarily know. So, I mean, that's what makes this all so tough. But I think that we are starting to get to a point where you just can't realistically move on with this coach. And even if you do have to go into December and make an unorthodox hire, like it just, I feel like you have to do that at this point.